Well, it's Easter and we're at Santipod Raceway's Festival of Power. It's the first big drag racing event of the year and we're all ready for round one of the 2014 MSA British Pro Mod Championship. We've got all the national drag racing classes here, plus a weekend of side-by-side top fuel and jet cars, but the big talking point for many is the debut of several new Pro Mod cars. And to kick things off, we're going to go straight into an atmospheric look at round one qualifying to get a sneak preview of what's in store for the rest of the weekend. Okay, looking new, but it's actually Andy Robinson in his newly wrapped Camaro. Looking very resplendent in orange, actually. But this really is brand spanking new. Kevin Slyfield swapped his old Willys for a brand new full race spec Ford Thunderbird, and even in testing it's gone so much straighter than the Willys already. But that smoke doesn't look good. Another eagerly awaited new car, the Turbo Duster of Spencer Tram and Chris Isaacs, going through the licensing procedure and looking very, very good. We're now going to catch up with Andy Robinson for his first interview of the year.
We've been through the whole car, done a few little small changes to the suspension. Obviously it's been wrapped, make it orange now rather than black where it was a bit dull. Yeah, we're looking for a good year. Ultimately we built the car to run fives, yes. We still haven't gone as fast in this car as we did in the Studebaker. We've gone, to be fair, we've gone faster in speed, 237 miles an hour against 230 odd. But we haven't gone quicker. Our best in this is 6:17. The Studebaker went 6:05. So obviously we've got to go into the zeros first. But ultimately fives, yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Remember that smoke at the top end for Kev Slyfield? Well, this is the motor now. Not good news at all.
I bought the car as a part-built car it's about September last year. We decided to go for the new car. And we've worked really hard. A couple of my crew have worked really hard with me for the last 6 months. Andy Robinson's done a brilliant job getting it ready. Very pleased with it. It's we were very hopeful for this weekend to get some good times out of it. Basically, the motor's just decided to destroy itself. Don't know how it happened. We think we may have dropped a valve, just detonated everything, and the engine is now pretty much rubbish.
Okay, into qualifying session 2, and Chris Isaacs at the wheel of the new Direct Plastics Back Duster. He's done his half-track pass, now he needs to put in 2 full runs at quicker than 7.40 to get his licence. That was close. Next time, a little bit more horsepower should do it. Next out is Steve Hall in his absolutely beautiful 55 Chevrolet. He started to get the car really sorted at the end of last year, capable of running very low sixes already. And there we are, straight off the trailer, a 6.56, #1 spot at the moment. And the ever-consistent Viper of Roger Moore. He's gradually been stepping up over the years and made a lot of changes for this season, including fitting a Pat Musey engine management system.
Yeah, it's been a very busy winter, and it was tight that we made this weekend, but we felt it was worth the effort, and we're pleased with our little run this afternoon, just to sort a few things out and understand how to tune the car a bit. We want to go quicker. Everyone wants to go quicker, but we want to try something new as well, something to test us a bit, and the EFI seemed a good way to go. The turbo cars that are coming in are running a similar type system, probably a bit more complicated, but as myself and Roger Johansson are running the Pat Musi system, and he's been running very well with it.
What's the benefits of using something like that?
It's just control, really. We have greater control over the fuel, so hopefully we can go quicker.
Well, we're back to qualifying session number 2, and it's Rick Garrett in the multicoloured hot rod against Robert Houston in the super aerodynamic Camaro. Robert's a seasoned campaigner, and this car is more than capable of 5-second passes, even on a cold weekend like this. Well, Rick doesn't move, but a great launch for Robert. Looks like problems for Rick again, but look at that for Robert Houston, straight down the Armco to a 606.
Yeah, how do we do it? Well, for us it was a nice run. We did our homework this winter. Should be a 5 if it was straight. We did an upgrade on the engine and on the chassis. We made some little changes which we like. We saw last year we didn't like, so we changed that, and it works good for us now. We can see that. And from all the troubles through all the years, you learn. And we always go to as many races as possible, so you learn as much as possible. I think that's the most important. You need to just go, 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 and eventually it will go.
Well, we're now into Saturday, and it's qualifying session number 3. It's the two Andys, Andy Wright in the black coupe and Andy Robinson in the Camaro. The sun's out, but the air is really cool. The track is catching out quite a few racers so far, with more traction than they expected. And both cars not quite there yet on the launch. So what is it about Pro Mods that makes people want to run in this class?
Saloon cars and door cars. I love two-door cars. You know, I mean, I've got no particular interest in racing in dragsters or funny cars particularly. If someone said to me, drive it and you can drive it free, I'd love to do it, but I had to pay for this out of my money, and I love Pro Mod.
It's a drug, I suppose. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's the speed, the adrenaline, it's the buzz. Just need more speed.
You want something that's a bit of a handful sometimes, perhaps, and something that's exciting and it's good fun to drive. I think Britsh Pro Mod's brilliant. I think we've got a great diversity of cars, great to watch, and everyone tries really hard.
And the lure is obviously too much for Spencer Tram and Chris Isaacs as well.
It's been about a 3-year process to actually get the car designed and built. The last 4 weeks or so has just been 12-hour days, 7 days a week, trying to get the car finished, myself and Jed, who works for me. Really, it emerged over a cup of tea, really. We talked loosely about the idea of going Pro Mod before. Both of us feel that that's the ultimate thing you can do with a door car. He was visiting the workshop one day and we got talking about it, and he was talking about buying a stock eliminator car from the States. And I just made a throwaway comment, oh, well, we're not doing this Pro Mod then. And then it just kind of went from there.
Back to qualifying, and the Duster still needing that sub 7.40 run.
We were going to do a nitrous car because I've had some experience with nitrous. At the time when we were planning the car, if you could go 680s, 690s in Britsh Pro Mod, you could be somewhere near competitive. We felt we could run 680, 690 with a 706 nitrous engine. And then as we were planning the car, people started stepping up and going faster and faster, and suddenly it became much more difficult to do. So the choice became either blower or turbos. A lot of people think that you go turbos because you can make a lot of horsepower and you can run fast, but what I really liked about the turbos was it's comparatively easy to turn the tune down, particularly with a car with a torque converter in it, which is what we're running. You can turn everything right down, as we've been doing this weekend. So if you're on a bad track, you've got more flexibility in being able to get down it, and that's really the reason why we went turbos, not to make a lot of power.
And this looks really good as well. Much better for Chris Isaacs, a bit faster. And yes, they'll be pleased with that one.
Very pleased, yeah. We keep putting a tune-up in and it keeps going a bit quicker than we expected it to go. We're not doing any damage, so yeah, it's good.
More qualifying runs on the Saturday of the Festival of Power in 2014. Rick Garrett, the guy that won this race 1 year ago, it's his first and so far only win in MSA Pro Modified, against a man who's been multi-time MSA Pro Mod champ in the UK, Andy Robinson, with the new Camaro. Car still not quite run up to its full potential. I know they want to get it down towards the fives. Still problems for Andy off the line. Rick Garrett was way out in front but clicked it early. Andy Robinson, I think his right foot was a bit annoyed that time. Goes through the 698 at 228 miles an hour. Just a glimpse of how quick that car can go. So your next pair, two cars that have run very quickly so far this weekend. Number 1 and 2 so far, actually. Steve Hall with the 55 Chevy. And all the way from the Netherlands, Robert Houston. We're going to be seeing these guys battling it out all season long. Steve with problems off the line all over the place. I think he might have hurt something as well. Robert with another nice straight run, 618, 232 mile an hour. But sadly, there's still no sign of Wayne Nicholson and the Corvette out on track. They've been plagued with minor problems all weekend and can't quite manage to get them sorted out. But it's a good start so far for Andy Wright.
So you've changed a few things and you've worked on a few things, but you came here today expecting what?
No, we knew we might have a bit of trouble because we've got a new fuel system, but hopefully we can sort it out and be better tomorrow.
Okay.
The track conditions have been all right. It's just been a new learning curve this weekend, so it's been a bit difficult, that's all. This meeting's really about scoring some points and just means that you're in the championship. If you don't go to all meetings, you won't get enough points at the end. As long as you get some points this meeting, you can move on to the next meeting.
What's your dream time, dream speed?
I'd like to run a 620.
But here's a rare view of Andy Robinson's Camaro with all of the body panels removed, showing just how high-tech these machines really are. Okay, we're on to the final qualifying session of the first event of 2014. Chris Isaac's been doing really well so far. Just needs one more sub 7.4 second run. Not only to get himself in the show, but to get his Pro Mod licence. He needs that, obviously, to be able to race. So, building up the revs one more time. Well, a lot of slip. Unfortunately for Chris Isaacs, has to back out the throttle. That is not going to be his last licensing pass. Still goes 824 at 189. He'll get another go, but that'll have to be another day. Next pair out in qualifying. Two cars that have had, well, not their usual storming start to the year, but simply because there's a lot of new stuff for both of them. As Andy Wright said, new fuel system and injector hat on top of that car. Roger Moore, new engine and set up on the Viper. Well, Roger taking it easily, getting further and further down the racetrack with each run. 796 at 126. He clipped that off at half track, but more problems, unfortunately, for Andy Wright. Well, the glorious sound of a supercharged Pro Mod doing a burnout far lane. We've seen him a few times already. That is Andy Robinson. You also now know what lies beneath the body panels on that Camaro. Up against Rick Garrett. Again, this is still qualifying. They're still looking for quick ETs. Most importantly, to hook up, I think, as well. Andy Robinson with monster shake. Actually shakes the parachutes out of the car off the start line. Rick Garrett with similar problems off the line. 793, 171. Well, one more car, which is Robert Houston. I'm sure the team were really shooting for the moon that time round. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But at the end of 4 qualifying sessions, it's still Robert in that number 1 spot.
But we are pleased with the 6.0.
What caused the wobble there? Was it track conditions or?
Yes, and the right setting of the car. So I think we wanted a little too much. So we need to back it off a little bit. And well, we will hope and show you that it's possible to run a 5 now this weekend. Yeah.
That'd be really impressive. But number 1 qualifier, you've got to be happy about that.
Yes, of course. Yes, always good.
And what happened to Andy Robinson's last run?
Yeah, unfortunately, the chutes got deployed. I think I did it. I got sideways. The launch was way better than we've had all weekend. Got a bit sideways, obviously turned the steering wheel, and I've got a new button on the steering wheel which deploys the chutes using pneumatics. And I think I must have touched it, and I did not realise. So I then blew through the clutch, blew through the gearbox, before the radio told me, Bowser on the radio said to me, your chutes are out.
So you were literally driving with the chutes open and trying to race?
Yeah, and it's like a slug. It's terrible. But yeah. Well, it's always interesting and tricky on the beginning of a season. You know, Easter's traditionally cold. The air is always very good. We have to try and find out what it wants to get the car hooked properly. We play around with the clutch settings, we play around with timing, take timing out, try and take power out of the cars as well. Tyre pressures, suspension, shock absorbent settings. You know, we try everything we can to try and figure out what will work for the car.
What are your thoughts, what are your hopes for tomorrow? You qualified third.
Yeah, that means that we're on the, effectively we're on Robert's side of the ladder, you know, number one qualifier side of the ladder, which isn't so much fun. But, you know, we just try and go one round at a time because drag racing is full of surprises and there's never a guarantee about anything, so literally one step at a time.
So we look at the qualifying table before we move into Sunday's eliminations. The drivers are ready, the cars are prepped and warmed up and then towed down to the staging lanes, but unfortunately the rain that has been threatened all weekend finally arrived just as the cars are at the top of the staging lanes. Although the track staff worked tirelessly to dry the track, it just never stopped long enough for racing to restart. So the points for round one look like this, and that leaves us all looking forward to round two at the FIA FIM Championship round one at the end of May.